keeping in mind that the governor's budget is a proposed $54 billion, and half that's for education. And that budget includes apparently a new $745 million bump for education. And on top of that, this B as in B, S as in S, Due North program he introduced earlier this week, which means nothing, which doesn't have a price tag on it. All of this, well, he keeps allowing the unions to keep teachers out of schools for the most part, which is happening all over the country. You get to the closer you get to the country's tallest buildings. There's a piece on the Local 9 today that as public schools start returning to in-person learning, leaders at many private schools across Minnesota say they have been doing it safely all year. At Liberty Classical Academy in White Bear Lake, there's been one outbreak during the entire year, which happened during the pandemic's peak in November. Even then, officials say they couldn't definitively link transmission to the school. I can say right now we have 0 COVID cases in our schools, said school headmaster Rebecca Hagstrom. We've implemented our plan and it's gone very well. This week, the Centers for Disease Control said there's little evidence that schools contribute to community spread of COVID-19. Health officials are now saying returning to the classroom is safe. The Minnesota Independent School Forum estimates 95% of member schools have been in person since the start of the academic year. The organizer's president, Tim Ben, said they found COVID-19 precautions and protocols to be manageable. We have students and parents saying, thank you, thank you, thank you, said Hagstrom. I'm not buying this. 95%, well, of course, I don't know. Oh, I get it. The Minnesota Independent School Forum would represent non-public schools, and that 95% of those have been operating. She says they are proof that schools can do in-person learning and do it safely. I'm in touch with other private school leaders, and they're saying the same thing, that they're not seeing this community-wide spread, said Hagstrom. Many public school teachers, however, aren't convinced. They're wearing masks inside school, but we don't know what kind of behavior and involvement they have with other people outside of school. And all of that is being brought into the classroom, said Brenda Bjorlin, a math teacher at Hopkins High School. Brenda, you're essentially telling me you're no longer essential. Bjorlin says she thinks all educators should be fully vaccinated before returning to the classroom. The Minneapolis and St. Paul teachers unions agree. The distance thing is working right now. No, it isn't.
Nope.
It doesn't work. Nope. Why don't you speak the truth, you people? Can I say something, a completely random thought that popped into my head today?
Please.
We're losing, we meaning people, we're losing our ability to speak forthrightly. We're losing our ability to speak truths. Don't tell me distance thing is working. It's not working. Why don't you tell me it's not working? And this is still that math teacher. So if we could wait
do a whole show on that, Joe.
I know.
So that's fascinating. We could come up with hundreds of examples. You're right.
Every day.
And we wouldn't have to leave politics.
The distance thing is working right now. So if we could wait until we had a vaccine, it would just feel a little bit safer, she said. Well, she's drank the whole Kool-Aid. This year, Liberty Classical Academy, I'm unfamiliar with the school, experienced a 9% increase in their student population as some public school parents look for alternatives. Hagstrom remembers that first week back being a little nerve-wracking, but today she says it was worth it. I understand the fear, said Hagstrom. The fear is real, but I think fear sometimes drives our decisions that doesn't allow us to do what's best for all. You know, the governor... The pandemic has really, really been beneficial to the perceived importance of the state. It's creeping into all areas of our life, whether it's saloons or hockey arenas or schools. But the governor, Walls, you have a lot of nerve continuing to demand more and more money when these kids aren't even in school. And the unions keep balking at the teachers going back to school. I am not wishing any illness on anybody. But why don't you go study a few private schools and see how they're doing it? Because they're doing it and they're not getting sick. And then the other part of the due north thing, think of this. they identified 7 steps they wish to take, all of which are not measurable, so therefore meaningless. Number 1, meet the needs of students during and after the COVID-19 pandemic. Well, first of all, you're not meeting the needs of students during the pandemic, which we're experiencing. And after the pandemic, I can only conclude that what you mean by meeting the needs of students will be the year of school they missed, if not more. So why in the hell aren't you back in school? Doesn't that make more sense than dreaming up some marketing slogan in search of a purpose? Due north, a marketing slogan in search of a purpose. It's meaningless. Keep giving us more money. And we've been hearing this for 50 years. Everything he said here was a slap in the face to teachers. Every student receive a world-class education. I thought that's what we were paying for. Every student learns in a safe and nurturing environment. Then enforce discipline that you've diminished over the years. Bring back school resource officers, what you kicked out of school because of the bad optics, and they might traumatize the snowflakes. Every student learns in a classroom with caring and qualified teachers. So in other words, the ones there now are not caring and not qualified. Expand access to opportunities for students of color and indigenous students. Well, if you've denied them access, you sure owe students of color and indigenous students an explanation as to your behavior. Expand access to opportunities for students in greater Minnesota. I don't know what that means. Fund a 21st century education. The fact that it's the 21st century is the only fact in this plan. It's a shame. These kids are falling way behind.
Way behind.
Way behind.